You are Locked On Heat POSTCAST. Part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Heat fans, and welcome to your Locked On Heat POSTCAST, first game of the 2024-2025 season, and man, oh man, was it a stink fest. I don't have any other words for it. Not a good start for the Miami Heat. They did not have a good home record last year, and it has carried over into this season, at least with the start of the season, and on a night when they dedicated the court at the Kaseya Center to one of the greatest coaches, executives, personalities, people in the history of the NBA, Pat Riley, whose fingerprints, handprints all over this organization, from Zoe and Timmy, through D-Wade and Shaq, through the Heatles, and on through the finals appearance in the bubble, and then a couple of years ago, just the Heat culture. The architect of it all is honored tonight in Pat Riley, and the first thing they do on Pat Riley Court at the Kaseya Center is play one of the worst halves of basketball you've ever seen the Miami Heat play. And that seems to fit the narrative. Remember in the past on nights when they got rings and things like that, just not good nights for the Miami Heat. This is your Locked On Heat POSTCAST, first one of the season. Expected to be a pretty good year for Miami, and we will tell you about tonight. Man, Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler were god-awful. Tyler Herro, no points in the second half. The second half scoring overall was abysmal. Banchero and Wagner went off on them, and they had no answers at all tonight. Front court scoring non-existent for Miami. They were badly out-rebounded in this game. And like I said, they just didn't show up in the second half. Well, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter introducing the Locked On Heat POSTCAST daily newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Heat newsletter. Right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And tonight's show is brought to you by A Que Hora. What time is it? Game Time. That's right. Download the Gametime app. You know this. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase with Gametime. What time is it? A Que Hora. It is Game Time. And I don't know why that logo's not on behind me. Let me just make sure that thing, the TV just turned off on me. So we'll get that right for you here, guys, and keep it going. What a tough night and a brutal way to open the season for your Miami Heat. I like that red behind me. What do you guys think? It's looking pretty good, right? Tough way to start the season for Miami. And I don't know, like I said, tough way to start the season for me too with this TV. Come on now. Is it not plugged in? Sorry, guys, it's live. We'll get this right. All right. Fun times. Here we go. Fun times. All right. There we go. Is that it? No. Where's the... no. Okay. So what is all that? Jeez. All right. All right, guys. I'm going to have to go without it for so. Hold on. Just give me a second here. Why in the world is this unplugged? I never unplugged it. There we go. Ha! All right. Sorry, guys. We're live here. And as you know, when you're live, everything goes, right? Everything goes. And we got a beautiful thumbnail for you behind me here. And I don't understand. Someone touching my stuff, unplugging things. But it was a bad night for Miami. Let's talk about the score. 116-97 was the final in this game tonight. And we'll try to hit this backwards here while we're going. Here we go. Come on, baby. Come on. All right. Come on. And there we go. Come on. One more step, guys. One more step. This is beautiful right here. Come on. What in the world is wrong with this thing? Okay, here we go. And bang. Oh, my Lord. Come on. There we go. All right. There we go. We finally got it. Got all the hiccups, got all the demons and the ghosts and all that stuff. There we go. Heat ice cold in opener against the Orlando Magic, and you can see it right there. Bam Adebayo all over the place tonight. Jimmy Butler as well. 116-97 the final, but what it really was for Miami in this game, to be honest with you, it just was a tale of two halves. I mean, they were awful in the second half. They were just god-awful in the second half, and that is literally what happened in this game. They were so bad in the second half, and that they were only down a few points at halftime, and I'm looking for the splits here. There they are. All right, so it was a 4-point game at halftime. First quarter, both teams on fire, right? It's 32-32 at the end of one. Miami shooting the ball well. Tyler Hero had a really good start to this game. He was really good early. So was Terry Rozier, you know what I mean, who led the Heat in scoring tonight with 19, but they didn't have an answer for Paolo Banchero, man. This dude is one of the best players in the league, the young guy from Duke. Big night for him with 33 points. We'll get to that in a minute. Second quarter is when things started to cool off, especially for Miami. The Magic scored 26, about an average quarter, right? And the Heat held to 22. But every quarter it got worse, and they got some junk buckets in garbage time late in the game. So it was 32-32 at the end of one, and then at halftime, I mean, you're looking at the score there, and it was 58-54 at halftime. And you're like, okay, hey, we're at home, not bad. But then in the third quarter, they got smoked off their own floor. In the third quarter, they were ice cold, couldn't get anything going. They had 18 points in the third quarter. They scored 25 in the fourth, but a lot of that in junk time with the starters in and with everybody out on the floor. They had 14 points with a couple of minutes left in the game, and it was just terrible. I mean, when your leading scorer is 5 for 15 from the floor, and just not a good start to the season, obviously, with so many different things to look at here. And we will get to them here on your Locked On Heat postcast. And don't forget, we have the graphics at the end of the show that we've thrown in for all the teams that we have. We have the Dolphins. Hey, Tua's coming back, right? Back at practice. It's big news this week. And then the Hurricanes, undefeated, 7-0, number 6 in the country. Number 1 Heisman favorite, Cam Ward. And they play FSU, 1-6, the stinking rotten nose Seminoles coming in. So Miami with a huge game this weekend. So we have the postcast for you. Hurricanes and Dolphins this weekend as well. And the Heat on Saturday. Charlotte comes in. Maybe they'll beat them. Miami did not have a good home record last year, right? You want to win 30 games at home. They won 24, I think, at home last year. 24 games at home. And that's not going to be anything that you write home about, number one. But it's not going to get you anywhere. It is not going to get you anywhere at all. And for Miami, it's just a tough thing. 33 points and 11 rebounds for Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, 23. It was the front court, man. And it was specifically, and I'm going to get into this right now. I'm going to hit this before the break because we got a couple of minutes left. It was specifically Bam and Jimmy. Now, it's one thing to lose a game in your season opener. It's another thing to have an off night, to not be shooting well. To do it at home is almost inexcusable, right? But to play the way they did in the second half, and just to have your two superstars not show up, they just didn't come to the game. Orlando led by 32 points in the second half. They win by 19. They led by 32 points. This is how they dedicate Pat Riley Court. Jovic scores 15, good young player. But, man, they tried 27 threes in the first half. Orlando did. They're going to shoot a ton of those. You're going to see so many of them. The Celtics shot 60 of them in their season opener. But how about Jimmy Butler? How about Jimmy Butler with his $60 cups of coffee? How about Jimmy Butler with all his videos and I'm in California and this is my crib and ladies hit me up? And, I love Jimmy and it's one game. I don't want to say too much here. But 1 for 8, 3 points in a year that we know what this year means for Jimmy and for Miami with the contract, right? It's the 5th time in his career that he played 24 minutes or more and he scored 3 points or less. What a terrible game for Jimmy Butler. But they were outscored as a team by 21 points in the third quarter. Tyler Hero held scoreless in the second half. And it was just a terrible, terrible outing and showing for the Miami Heat tonight. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. There's absolutely no way around it. I mean, there is no way around it. And we will hit the stats on the other side because we're going to hit the box score, we're going to hit the team stats, and we're going to get you ready for this season of Miami Heat basketball. Look, the Eastern Conference is not super loaded, right? You got the Celtics, and when they're hot, they're going to beat anybody. When they're not, they're definitely beatable. And I thought maybe there'd be some division in that locker room. Tatum not playing on that team. Derek White played more. Jaylen Brown not being on the Olympic team. You know what I'm saying? Jaylen wins the MVP. Tatum doesn't. He gets the cover of the video game and a $300 million deal, but no finals MVP, no run with the Olympic team virtually. You know what I'm saying? So he comes out and has a huge season opener. So you got the Celtics, you got the Sixers with Joel Embiid, their fragile papier-mâché superstar who doesn't want to play back-to-back games. The Heat should have beat that team. They had that game one when Jimmy got hurt last year. So that's spilt milk at this point, and that derailed the Heat playoff run. But you can't keep playing your way into those lower seeds and the play-in tournaments. You can't keep doing that every year and just expect to get hot in the postseason. You can't keep doing it. You have to establish some sort of home court advantage. It says Pat Riley Court now, for God's sake. I remember being there with my son, who was a little kid at the time, when Dwayne Wade and Shaq and that team, they won the 06 championship, right? I covered the Heat for years and years, right? So 06, they win it. The first night of that season, I believe it was Chicago. They got smoked by like 35. It just, whenever they do dedications and ceremonies and things like that, it hasn't worked out super well for Miami. I mean, the Magic had 2 30-point quarters, man. That's defensive breakdowns. That's a team that's not ready to play. That's a team that is not ready. They were not ready to play. And Bam Adebayo, so great with the Olympic team and all that confidence and playing with the best players in the world against the best players in the world, dominating at times, holding his own for sure. Throughout that whole tournament, in 26 minutes, he's 1 for 5. He has 9 points, and he has 5 rebounds. He has 5 rebounds. Your center has 5 rebounds and 9 points. So Jimmy and Bam combined for 12 points in this game. 12 points in this game. And you know what I'm saying? That's just not a way to get it done. Not a way you're going to win games in the NBA. You're watching Locked On Heat Postcast. My name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. Don't forget Locked On Heat every day. YouTube as well as wherever you get your podcast. Right here where you get your podcast with us as well. Same place with the Dolphins, with the Canes. And it is awesome right now as this network grows, as this network expands and explodes and is becoming a huge force in the sports landscape. Locked On. We are locked in and locked on. Coming up on the other side, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to do a couple of things here, but I will say this. We're going to take a look at the numbers, and these numbers tell the tale of a story that you probably don't want to hear. You're watching Locked On Heat Postcast. I'm just keeping it real. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease, at Jim Grease _ on social media, and I will get into those numbers and those stats and what happened a little bit deeper in just a moment here on Locked On Heat Postcast. But first, and you know, if you watch the Marlins every day and the Canes and the Dolphins every week, you know how much I love FanDuel. NFL, NBA fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. That's right, #1. Think of all the companies that have big sports books, and FanDuel, ooh, it's numero uno. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, right, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more right there on the same page where you place your bets. They're going to get you started with $200 in bonus bets. On top of that, it's guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. $200 in bonuses for a $5 bet. Are you kidding me? That is FanDuel.com right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Locked On Heat Postcast. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease, and the Miami Heat with a stinker tonight. I mean, an absolute stinker. There's absolutely no explanation. There's no, and Spoelstra, and I didn't see his post game. You know, we can't roll it live here. We don't have the rights for that. But I'll tell you this, okay? I could almost do his post game press conference for him. We need to come out with more intensity. We need to set the tone on defense. We need our stars to fill it up a little bit and not get held to 12 points on the night when one of them's on the Olympic team and one of them probably should have been. What's up with Jimmy Butler, man? What was up with him tonight? Jimmy B just didn't look like Jimmy B at all. He didn't even look like he wanted to be there half the time. Bam Adebayo was just, I mean, they just got badly. Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler got outscored. It's 12 points for those two guys, right? Think about this for 1 second. 12 points for Bam and Jimmy. 12 points. Literally 12, okay? Combined. So 9 for Bam and 3 points for Jimmy Butler. A combined 2 for 13 from the floor. I mean, Lord, at least Bam had 7 out of 10 from the line. You know, you got to the stripe. Jimmy only got to the free throw line 2 times. And you know, he had 4 rebounds and 5 assists, but not your typical Jimmy Butler type of game. And he only played 26 minutes, man. I know it's the opener. I know it's early, but you have to come out with more intensity in the second half. You know what I mean? It's Pat Riley court dedication night. and you come out with that lack of fire, that lack of enthusiasm, that lack of effort and pride, and like, yo, this is our building. This is our turf. You ain't taking anything from us here. Where is that for Miami? They do not have a home court advantage. I'm just keeping it real. They don't. I mean, last year their home record was terrible, and this year, off to that start. And they were mentioning it on the telecast too. Eric Reed, shout out Eric Reed. I love Eric Reed. I've known him since 1994 when I was an intern on Sunday Night Sports Wrap with Jim Mandich and Jeff DeForest in Miami Lakes. And we'd have Alonzo Mourning showing up in a limo, Pat Riley coming to the show. Reed used to come on all the time. The TV voice of the Miami Heat from the inception, as you guys know. And he said it best on the telecast tonight. He's like, you have to win your home games. You have to win 30 home games, and then you take your chances on the road. You win 24, 25 road games, 20 road games. You know what I'm saying? Even, and 20 is a little sus. But, it's you have to protect your house. You have to. You have to protect your house. And these guys making so much money to carry this team, and then Tyler Herro, nothing in the second half. Nothing in the second half. I mean, we know he's streaky. We have to live with it. It's kind of like one of those things like an NBA or an NFL quarterback, right? You know that, like, for example, Dak Prescott with the Cowboys, and maybe to keep it 100, Tua with the Dolphins. He's good enough that you got a guy who's a starter like Baker Mayfield with the Bucs. You don't have a Pro Bowler. He's not an elite franchise QB. The Dolphins still think Tua is. I really don't know why. But, okay, and I thought coming into the season he might be. But look before the injury at his numbers and the weapons. No. Hold up. Back everything up on that talk. But what I'm saying is you're kind of stuck with him because you're not going to do any better with what's out there. And you don't want to lose him because you know that what you can replace him with, God forbid it ends up being like what the Dolphins have had a quarterback this year with Huntley and Thompson and all that. So just case in point, right? Big drop off. Same thing with two guards in the NBA, in the association, 2s and 3s, stars, right? They're the guys who are going to be your most athletic players. They're the guys who are going to fill up the stat sheets, right? The two guards. That's Tyler Herro. Is he good enough to be an elite two guard in this league? Does he have the potential? Yes. Does he live up to that potential consistently all the time? No. And that's been I think a stain on his resume a little bit. Otherwise, you'd be looking at if he's streaky is what I'm saying. So no points in the second half for him, at least until very late. I don't know if he got a late garbage bucket. I don't think so, though. I really don't believe he did. And let's see if he finished with 14. Yeah. And look, Herro minus 27. Butler and Adebayo, are you ready for this? Minus 30 each when they were on the floor tonight. That means the Heat were outscored by 30 points when Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo were on the floor. Let me say that again. These are two all-NBA level talents. This is an Olympic team player in Bam Adebayo and an elite, I think still elite performer in Jimmy B. Where were they tonight? And Miami got shot out of the building too on top of it. Let's not forget that. They were 18 for 49 from three, Orlando tonight. 18 for 49. They shot 36% from three. Miami shot 32, 11 for 34. But the difference, 7 more threes, and they won by 19. That's 21. They won by 19. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. Right there. Jaquez Jr. with another solid game. Man, I like Jaquez Jr. All rookie performer a year ago. I mean, but, Jovic with 15. Butler and Bam, 3 and 9. Herro 14, Rozier 19. So Herro had 14 in the first half. You want to see Tyler with about 17, 18. You want to see Jimmy up there in the high teens, low 20s. And you want to see Bam like 15, 16 points. And, look, he's 1 for 5. You want him to be about, 4 for 8. And some nights he'll go 6 for 13. You know what I'm saying? But I thought the way that he scored on the Olympic team would really carry over, and it just didn't. It hasn't. And that's something that I've looked at and said, hey, that's got to switch. That's got to change for Miami to be successful this year. They were outshot 42.7 to 38.6%. Orlando had 9 more field goals, 41 to 32. And of course, they had 7 more threes, 18 for 49 to 11 for 34. The free throws, Miami shot 29. Orlando shot 22. The Heat went 22 for 29, 75.9%. Orlando was at 72. The rebounds, 58 to 41. I mean, all the hustle stats, all the effort numbers. On a night when they named the court after the guy who's the king of demanding effort, they got none. Pat Riley's probably puking on his own court right now. That's what I'd be doing. I mean, 18 to 9 on the offensive glass. Where's the rebounds? Where are the rebounds coming from on this team? The assists almost even, the steals almost even, the blocks dead even, turnovers almost even. The Magic scored 19 off turnovers. Heat scored 13. Fast break points, 1 point difference. Points in the paint, 4 more for Orlando. You know what I mean? The fouls about even. The largest lead, 32 for Orlando and 8 for Miami at the Kaseya Center. And there you have it. Those are the team stats for the Heat versus Magic tonight. When I wrap up the show, on the other side, we're going to talk a little bit about the game on Saturday against Charlotte and how Miami, their second in a row at home, can establish some sort of a home court advantage this year. And really, it came down to tonight. Honestly, in my opinion, the way that I see things, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo didn't show up. You can't rely on Tyler Herro to score 30-plus in this game. You saw, if you're Orlando at halftime, very smart adjustments. You knew that Herro was beating you. You could see that Butler didn't have it, that Bam didn't have it tonight, and they adjusted their defense on Tyler, and we saw what happened there. So then Bam and Jimmy did not pick it up for him. I mean, minus 30 for each guy, 3 points for Jimmy, 9 points for Bam, 1 for 8 and 1 for 5 from the field. Just an awful night for those two guys. Rozier led the Heat with 19, and Herro with 14, and Jovic with 15, and Jacques Jr. with 13. For Orlando, Paolo Banchero with 33 points, 11 rebounds. Franz Wagner with 23 points. Carter Jr. with 10 defensive rebounds, 14 total, 8 points for him. And a nice game off the bench for Anthony with he had himself a nice. Harris right there. Harris had 18 points for Orlando tonight off the bench, and a nice job for him. And that was 6 for 9 from 3-point land tonight for Gary Harris. For Orlando. So they shot really well from 3. They shot a ton of threes. And then those guys up front, and they're going to be a problem for a lot of teams, man. They are going to be a problem for a lot of teams. KCP is good in the backcourt, but with Banchero and Wagner and Carter Jr. up front, man, that is rebounding, that's shot blocking, that's points. That's a good, really, really good young front court. You're watching Locked On Heat Postcast, but again, Jimmy and Bam didn't show up. They didn't show up. They did not arrive for the season opener tonight. And I think we've seen this in the NFL where the first week looks sloppy like preseason games. These season openers in the NBA, the spectacle of LeBron and Bronny, why aren't these teams ready to play? When that ball goes up in the air, it's the season opener, man. If you're not up for that, what are you going to be up for? What are you going to do? What you going to do, brother? What you going to do? Look, Magic came out pissed after that 3-hour halftime court decal ceremony. I mean, there's something to that, Ben Umbras. I appreciate the comment in there. And by the way, smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we have more content coming your way. Heat, Hurricanes, Dolphins, Marlins again. And man, just a tough one. 116-97. The Magic win tonight. I'm late for a break. Locked On Heat Postcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Wrapping it up on the other side with our star of the game. Oh boy, there wasn't a star of the game. There wasn't. I'll just give you that right now. And we'll hit those graphics on the other side. Wrap it up. Get you ready for Saturday. And Charlotte, it's your Locked On Heat Postcast. Miami, we have professional basketball again. And this is a good Heat team. They will be all right. But what a stinker, especially in the second half tonight. But that doesn't take the enthusiasm away from, oh, baby. What time is it? It is game time, and I love watching the NBA live. I really enjoy going to games. The NHL has started as well. The Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champion, and I love going to NFL, NBA, and NHL games. There's no doubt about it. So many memories at Heat games over the years, whether it was when Riley first got here and the Jordan Bulls playing them that first year in the playoffs and those Knicks series and the Bulls after that. And then, of course, you get the Shaqquisition and you get the D-Wade Shaq finals against Dallas and all those great games, all those years, beating the Pistons finally, going to the finals, winning it in 06. That game at home when you're down big and at halftime and D-Wade comes out as Superman in the third quarter. They didn't lose again in that series. Then the Heatles and all those. I mean, you know what I'm saying. The environment at the Kaseya Center on Pat Riley Court, where I'm sure the Heat will play a lot better than they did tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun with deals all over the place on Gametime. You can recapture those feelings that you've had going to games. And thankfully, if you didn't waste your money on this one tonight, you'll have that budget to go to another one here soon. You know what I'm saying? So with Gametime, look, you have curation. It makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater. They're only going to show you what you tell them you want. It's a smart app. You know what I'm saying? It figures it out for you. That feature, Gametime Picks, is unbelievable. It only gives you what you want. It filters everything else out. You don't have to worry about anything else. They have all-in pricing. You can see the views from every seat. As you're looking, as you're shopping, you get the lowest price guarantee. You get 110% of the difference back. And your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So what are you going to do? What you're going to do? You're going to take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. They always apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Game time. Someone should have told the Heat before they went out for the second half tonight, because they didn't realize it was game time, and it was not game time for them. It was game time for Orlando in that second half tonight. All right, let's put up some of these graphics before we look at the next game. We have this, and I love these. They're great. Our team of creative experts and talented people here at Locked On putting these together for you. Now, there is one thing that I have to warn you about. Here's the final score graphic, okay? And you'll just see it when it pops up there. And I will take the Gametime app down. All right, so there we go. All right, and we will pop this one back up. So I'm not able to change the 16 up there. So if you're watching Locked On Managers and Graphics Department, somebody's got to fix that. I can't stretch the box to make the other one fit in there. So it looks like 16-97, but it's 116-97. Orlando beats Miami tonight, and just a terrible game for Miami. And again, outscored hugely, especially in the third quarter, 39-18. Look, it's a 19-point win. It was a 21-point difference in the third quarter. Therein, University of Miami degree paying off. See that? Go Canes, undefeated. Florida State week. You know what I'm saying? All right, number 2 right here. How about the moment? These are the moments. All right, yeah. The start of the second half. Heat go ice cold. Look at that. That pretty much depicts what it was all about right there with Bam. And that's what happened when he shot tonight. Just bricks, just bam, 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 off the rim, off the backboard. That's what, you know what I mean? He lived up to his nickname tonight with his shooting. And they were awful, Bam and Jimmy Butler. So the start of the second half was really when this game was lost for Miami. And again, they got a bunch of garbage points late from the bench that didn't even really amount to anything. It amounted to some points on the scoreboard that didn't matter. And some guys, doing some things that they might not have had the opportunity to do otherwise. And here is, are you ready for the star of the game? There's only one choice for the star of the game on a night when Jimmy Butler doesn't show up, on a night when Bam Adebayo doesn't play well at all, on a night when Tyler Herro goes scoreless in the second half, on a night when your leading scorer goes 5 for 15 and it's Terry Rozier, although I'm not hating on Terry. I like him a lot. The star of the game, the one, the only, the legend. There he is, Pat Riley. Oh, I forgot to type his name in there. My bad. But Pat Riley tonight was honored, and you see that. Pat Riley Court, the Kaseya Center, has got a signature on it. And look, what Pat Riley has meant to this franchise, let's just leave him up there and talk about Riles, right? When he got there in 96, I remember, bringing Tim Hardaway in, bringing Alonzo Mourning in. They had the failed Juwan Howard deal, and he eventually comes back as an assistant coach, as a player, actually, and then as an assistant coach. But when I think about Juwan Howard and that deal, but then with Zoe and Mashburn and Marley and Vashawn Leonard in those series against the Knicks and the Bulls that put Miami on the map, the excruciating losses along the way, the Game 5 against the Knicks and Allen Houston when the Knicks were an 8 seed in the lockout season. So many things along the way. The Shaqquisition, they bring in the big fella. They win the title in 06. Riley pulling the strings, the master puppeteer, right? And then the Heatles, putting that all together, meeting with LeBron James and dumping all those rings on the table right in front of him. The godfather of the Miami Heat franchise, Pat Riley. And I can tell you this, I've interviewed him on radio shows. I've interviewed him in person many, many times. You will not find a more impressive human being if indeed you want to talk about success, about winning, about focus, determination, grit, character, intensity, all those things. Pat Riley. And I can't think of anyone who deserves this type of honor more than a guy like Pat. And you had Wade there sitting front and center tonight with Zoe and all those guys. You know what I'm saying? So it was cool to see that, but it was forever. It took forever. And at the end of the night, man, the Magic were probably sitting back there just chomping at the bit while the Heat players are out there. Hey, man, we got to see. You know what I mean? So they were probably a lot more focused at halftime. And so I'd like to think that has something to do with it. But by no means am I letting Jimmy Butler off the hook, man. You're a superstar, bro. You're a superstar. You can't score. You cannot score, Jimmy Butler. You cannot score 3 points in a game. You cannot score 3 points in a game. It's one of 5 times in his career he's played more than 24 minutes and had 3 points or less. You cannot do that. I mean, he looked old. He looked slow. Bam didn't look good at all. So I'm not going to say anything else about that because I'm not trying to pile on people here. My job is to tell you what happened in the game. And what happened in the game is Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo stunk, and Miami got blown out. It's that simple. They didn't shoot well. Harrow was held scoreless in the second half. But again, it's Jimmy Butler's team. It's Bam Adebayo. Show up to the season opener. Is that too much to ask? Show up. Show up to the season opener. You know what I'm saying? And now you got Charlotte coming up on Saturday, and they're lousy. Obviously, not a good team at all. So you got Miami and Charlotte coming up on Saturday, and that game will be at 7 p.m. And that's the same time as Miami and Florida State, which is really interesting. So that's not going to have a huge audience, to say the least. But Kevin Love was out. Josh Richardson was out. That's, obviously with your shooting and rebounds, that's going to hurt you with those guys out. So the discrepancy in the boards, the discrepancy in the shooting, you know what I'm saying? So I believe that played a role. But the Heat and it's the Hornets, not the Bobcats. My bad. See that? What happens when you live long enough? It's the Charlotte Hornets. And there we go. We actually won their first game. So that game will be on Saturday. And obviously the Heat are going to be a big-time favorite over the Hornets. And you got LaMelo Ball, obviously, on that team. And it's pretty good up-and-coming team, I'll say. They haven't been good in a long time. You know what I'm saying? But, it's not a bad team. It's not a bad team overall, and young and getting better. So Miami's got to show up. They got to show up with more intensity. Jimmy and Bam have to bring it. And I know it's only one game, but, man, that second half. And you hate to see these trends continue because they had a lousy home record last year, and it really cost them because they're in the play-in. And if they had a bet, if they won 5 more home games last year, they wouldn't have been even close to the play-in. So that matters. And Jimmy Butler wouldn't have been in that game to hurt his knee, and maybe he still would have. Who knows? But you know what I'm saying, right? It has a compound effect. To keep it real, it has a compound effect. So that game's at 7:00 on Saturday. Canes FSU as well. We'll have the postcast of both those games on Saturday night, and then Sunday the Dolphins against the Cardinals, and that's a 1 p.m. kickoff with Tua coming back, I think. So we'll see how that goes, but you'll keep it locked right here. That's all there is, Heat fans. There is no more. 116-97 in the opener. Orlando smokes the Heat off their home floor tonight. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo don't show up. Tyler Harrow scoreless in the second half on a night when they dedicate Pat Riley Court at the Kaseya Center. All is bad that ends bad for the Miami Heat. And we will be back, of course, on Saturday for game number 2. It's an 82-game season. Throw this one away and keep moving forward. But in a league where teams are 1 game apart at the end of the season, whether you're in the play-in or not, seedings, top 4, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is disaster when you lose games like this at home and you just get badly outplayed like that. All right, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Great news, right? Introducing the Locked On Heat daily newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage, and it's delivered right to your inbox. You sign up now for free at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Heat newsletter. All right, 116-97. The Magic smoke the Heat tonight, and we are done with our first Locked On Heat postcast of the 2024-2025 season. Keep your game tight and your mind right, Heat fans. We had to leave Pat Riley up there for his, you don't want to see me. You want to see Pat Riley. Keep your game tight and your mind right, Heat fans. We are out.